welcome to the Little Blue Pot. It's Jem here. Thank you for joining me YouTube for Personality Disorders Cluster A. So there are 10 personality disorders altogether, and they are broken into 3 groups or clusters, and each cluster has its own kind of identity. Although each personality is different, there is some overlaps, and they're grouped into these clusters because they have similar traits within that cluster. So in Cluster A, the disorders that comprise this group are characterised by odd or eccentric behaviour or thinking. I've taken this information today from my brain book and BPD for Dummies. That information is in the description below. So Cluster A, odd and eccentric. What does this mean? Well, odd meaning different to what is usual, maybe strange or unexpected. And eccentric meaning maybe unconventional, slightly strange, uncommon, irregular. People with this kind of personality disorder in the odd and eccentric category maybe don't have much time for other people. In fact, they may be not interested by people at all. They have lower need for social contact. They often have distorted thinking and perhaps perceive events differently to most people. So that's the kind of overview of Cluster A, but there are 3 personality disorders, and I'm going to talk about all 3 of them now. So there's paranoid personality disorder, schizoid personality disorder, and schizotypal. So paranoid. People with paranoid personality disorder are suspicious and distrustful of others. They may believe others are trying to harm them, and they tend to be hostile and emotionally detached. So constantly living in a state of paranoia, mistrust, distrust, maybe not, and maybe sort of not being around people because of that trust. It's actually surprisingly common, with around 4 to 5% of the population experiencing this illness. And typically they view the world with suspicion and mistrust. They can feel mistreated by others quite often, hold grudges for a long time, criticise and judge others harshly, assume that most people are out to get them, feel like outcasts, doubt the loyalty of their friends, partners or lovers or people in that care for them, and feel jealous and frantically search for signs of betrayal, and they often interpret neutral events as harmful. So real paranoid place to be, really unstable, really kind of not having that ability to connect with others because of this paranoia, this trust. It must be very, very hard to live with. If you have any experience of paranoid personality disorder, please, or any of the disorders I'm going to be talking about today, then please put in the comments below. The second personality disorder in Cluster A is schizoid personality disorder. People with this disorder are uninterested in social relationships, can be introverted and solitary, have a limited range of emotional expression, and often they seem unable to recognise normal social cues. So this is less common, only affects around 1 to 3% of the population. And yeah, they are very detached from having relationships. They're unable to, perhaps see normal social cues, so having that conversation, having a dialogue with someone, they may find that quite challenging. I will be going into more detail into all these personality disorders at a later date, but I'm just giving you an overview today because I do want to go into more detail, and I want to hear from other people that have experience of these, or maybe know people that have. So I will be going into more detail about these at a later date. Carrying on with schizoid personality disorder. People with schizoid personality disorder can be quintessential loners. They don't have close relationships or the desire to have them. Other people consider them to be outcasts, and they rarely connect with their own families. So very, very detached from the social kind of, that most people who don't have this personality disorder, will have that friendship, will have rapport with people, develop a nice sort of, dialogue and conversation. But people with schizoid personality disorder will find this very, very challenging, and they won't pick up on the kind of social cues, like saying hello and greeting and things like that. They won't be aware or be able to be involved in that kind of behaviour because of their personality disorder. They have poor social skills, don't understand the nuances of social interactions. Their emotions are flat and detached. They don't care about praise or criticism, which is very different to the I imagine the paranoid personality disorder, when they're going to be much more on edge, paranoid about what people are saying about them. So also in schizoid personality disorder, they prefer to do almost everything by themselves, so they can be loners, and I'm taking this word from a book. I'm not using that word as my own word. I don't necessarily think it's the best word, but that's what I've taken from my book. But I would say this, to sum this one up, it's definitely people that aren't able to have the same social interaction as other people without this disorder. And finally, the third disorder in personality disorder in cluster A is schizotypal. People with this type are socially and emotionally detached and exhibit peculiarities, I'm not reading well today, of behaviour and thinking, such as magical thinking. And magical thinking means that they maybe believe that their thoughts can influence others, so it might be believed that they can have maybe telepathy and things like that. I don't have any statistics on that, but I've got some more information here. So they may avoid close relationships and lack social skills. So this is quite similar to the schizoid personality disorder. But however, although there is that similarity, people with schizotypal personality disorder tend to have more anxiety in social situations. So people with schizoid personality disorder are so detached from what's going on in that social situation, they don't tend to feel anxiety. But on the other hand, schizotypal personality disorder, they will have more anxiety in that situation. So they're a bit more aware of what's going on, but perhaps find it much harder to be emotionally attached to people because of their magical thinking that maybe takes them away from reality to some extent. Sorry, just turning up pages. Furthermore, people with schizotypal personality disorder are far more noticeable to others because they have a variety of odd and eccentric behaviours and thoughts. So this again ties in that cluster A, odd and eccentric behaviour. So I'm going to give you some examples of some of the odd and eccentric behaviour from schizotypal personality disorder. So beliefs that events in the world revolve around them, so things that maybe are in the news, on the newspaper headlines, things like that, people will think, oh, that's happening because of me. Magical thinking again, so this means kind of you could have really superstitious thinking about something or feelings about something, bizarre fantasies, and maybe, like I say, belief in telepathy, which is that where you can talk to someone without using your voice. It's through kind of mind, sort of talking through the mind. They have strange perceptions about their bodies, so they might feel that their bodies are being controlled by outside forces, and unusual speech or thoughts that others find hard to follow because of vagueness or maybe overusing of metaphors. And right at the bottom, there's the last sign and symptom is paranoia. It's a lot to take in there. I've gone through this quite quickly, but like I said, I wanted to do a video to talk about cluster A because I have been doing a lot of work on borderline personality disorder, which is the personality disorder I suffer from. But I've noticed as I've been doing my research of personality disorders that there are quite a few overlaps, and I would definitely say that I have elements of paranoid personality disorder because I can be very suspicious and distrustful of others, and I can hold grudges, I can criticise people, and I sometimes do think that people are out to get me. So there are overlaps. I've sort of gone off on a sidetrack there. So that is personality disorders cluster A. Please join me next time for cluster B. And thank you for watching. Take care, and I will see you next time. Oh, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Please share the video and put any comments or questions or anything in the space below. Thanks for watching. Take care, and I will see you next time.